Welcome back to the Yukon in North 61. So, trying out this New Way stove again, this time with a damper. And I would like to report that I've had incredible success with the damper, but the difference I would say is extremely subtle. You see both sides, and you can see our little damper there. So the damper's half on. And I'll just check the heat out in here. So last week we got it up to 7. This week it's a little hotter out, but let's see what our temperature is. So, oh, that's our direction. So, yeah, we're up to 12 degrees. You see the heat rising from the chimney. Okay, give me your honest opinion how you like the propane heat.
Well, I like it. I'm just out here in a light fleece. I'm comfortable. It's, I love the way it turned on, how it's so clean, and that I think it's great that it'll run all night. You don't have to worry about having wood and, you know, the changes in temperature. I think it's pretty impressive.
So my conclusions. Basically, I like this little New Way 28,000 BTU stove. My last video I said we were burning half a pound an hour. With a bit of further examination and weighing our propane, it's more like just over a pound an hour, which changes the equation a little bit. So the 10 pounder is really only good when you have to burn both sides, because you can also get this down to 14,000 full out on one side, or you can get it down to even less if it's a little bit warmer out. But for minus 20 degree or so, you need both sides going. And in that case, this 10-pound propane is only good for one night. So it's not 2 nights. And the 20-pounder is good for 2 nights, which is most of what we do is weekend work. So you can bring one 20-pounder and the 10-pounder for an emergency. And that should give you 3 nights. Really comfortable, really even heat. The damper doesn't matter. I don't think it makes more than a 1 or 2 degree temperature swing, because it's not like a wood heater where you're actually getting an anaerobic burn. You always have to have a lot of air pouring into that, and that's got to go somewhere. So it hasn't made as much difference as I thought, having a damper. I wouldn't bother if I was to do it again. And when it's really, really cold, the 30 degree temperature swing, when it's minus 40, you still have it minus 10 in the tent. Now, it might be a little better than that. We'll have to check it. Also, at minus 40, propane turns into a liquid, so I don't know how well it'll work. So I still think it's good to have the wood heat for cold weather trips, so like minus 20 and lower. This is good for minus 20 and higher. And of course, even at minus 30, man, I'd sure be happy to have this, because we'd still have a lot more comfortable sleep. I tend to get some sinus problems now that I'm older when I'm sleeping at minus 30 degrees. So if I'm sleeping at 0 or 10 degrees centigrade, that's a lot better. So really worthwhile gear, but I'm still glad to have a wood heater, because that's more useful when it's really, really cold. Put a wood heater in this when it's minus 10. It'll just, it's too much heat. You got too much heat for this insulated tent. At minus 30, you need that kind of heat. So I've got a more nuanced kind of feeling for what works and what doesn't. And I think we're that much closer to being ready for the bison hunt this year, where we're going out for 3-4 days in, I don't know what the temperature will be like, and we're hoping to bring home 1,000 pounds of meat or so. So I'll take you with us when we do that. Anything else to say, Jane?
No, it's great.
All right.
Very comfortable here. Too bad I have to get going, do some errands.
You got to have a cot, because you got to get up. There's still a temperature gradient. The temperature at the floor is still fairly cold. Once you get up about a foot off the floor, you get a lot better temperature bubble. So you still need to work with cots. So it's a little bit more weight. So this is certainly a heavy option, this Arctic oven tent and all the stuff you need to stay comfortable, but it's like going to a cabin instead of staying in a tent. So one other thought, of course, you don't have to have the thing going full out either. So I've just been sitting out here for about 10 minutes with one of the sides going. So I'm now down to 14,000 BTU, and I could even, adjust that down to 5,000 BTU. So I'm starting to be able to start to see my breath, so it's about 7 degrees here now instead of 12. But that's still a lot better than minus 15 outside. If I damped it down further, maybe I could get it, down to close to 0, which is still better than minus 15. And at 14,000 BTUs, 12,000 BTUs, I'm burning the half a pound of fuel. So, there is ways to fine tune this to conserve your fuel as well. So, anything is better than cold tenting. So cold tenting is fine. I still bring a really good sleeping bag just in case something breaks down or a survival gear. But it's really, really nice to have a hot tent. It makes everything easier. And it gives you more energy for what you're out there. In this case, bison hunting. It's a lot better to have a hot tent and feel like you're living in a cabin than a cold tent, feeling like you're living out in the snow. So especially when you get older, you get a bit like the old dog that doesn't like sitting on the cement when it's cold anymore. So a very useful, adaptable system. We'll play with it more. I'm sure we're going to take this on our bison hunt, and I'm sure it's going to make a big difference for us. So thanks for watching again.